All right, for section 17, we're going to first imply an erat, subject of which is the day, dies. And alibi is an adverb meaning elsewhere. So elsewhere, it was day or daytime. But illic, next adverb, there or in this place, will still imply that same erat. It was night, darker, and denser. And then we'll have a ablative of comparison than all, like all other nights. I'm implying the other in that translation. Which, however, referring to the night, many torches and various lights were breaking up. So the object of word breaking up is the quam, which is how we'll translate that. And again, its antecedent is this night that was darker and thicker than all other nights. It pleased them implied to depart. Egredi is your deponent infinitive. Upon the shore, towards the shore. And from the closest place, ex proximo, to adspicere, to look forward or to look out. And then we have an indirect question with an imperfect subjunctive. We can translate this with the ec quid iam, whether now the sea would admit them. In other words, if the weather was favorable to disembark. The quod is going to be nominative referring back to the sea, which to this point, ad hoc as an adverb, was remaining Then we have the two predicates to that, vast and adverse. All right, so now I picture he's somewhere near the beach on the shore, Ibi, there, and our subject is now going to return to being Pliny the Elder, reclining, or we could probably even say resting, upon, super, a cloth having been thrown down, adjectum being your perfect passive participle. And then we have simul atque interim, and we'll translate that as again and again, or over and over. He requested or demanded cold water, and he drank it. How's it? Then the flames and the harbingers or foretellers or indications, praenuntius, literally the pre-messengers of flames. And as sort of an appositive to that, it would be the smell of sulfur. Would be your indication that the flames were nearby. So that's your subject. There's both the flames and the foreteller of flames, which is the smell. They turned the others into retreat, or into flight or departure, and they stirred up illum, that one referring to Pliny. So made him get up and kind of power through. But as we'll see, he can barely walk. Anitians leaning, literally leaning upon with the prefix in, And that's going to take a dative because we do have a compound participle there. Leaning upon 2 small slaves. Servolus is the diminutive form. So 2 small, most likely referring to young slaves. He rose up and at once he fell. Or collapsed. Then Pliny the Elder interjects here. Ut, in this case, is as, because we don't have a subjunctive after it. First person to mean as I collect or as I gather. Sort of more idiomatically, we might say as he understood. But he is saying that in the first person. With breath having been obstructed. Then we have an ablative of means by thick vapor. And with his esophagus having been closed, which, referring to his stomacho, his esophagus, for him, we'll use our verb erat, was weak, invalidus, the opposite of strong, validus, so weak, and narrow. On account of nature, or by reason of nature, sort of just, he was born that way, it was just sort of part of his natural condition at that time. And we're still referring to his esophagus, which is the qui, aistuans, which can in a most general sense mean hot, but in this case probably inflamed. Frequently. At the very least, irritated frequently.